Scorpio, you were never meant to blend in. You were born with eyes that pierce through masks, with instincts that detect silence louder than sound. You carry a legacy not of ease, but of evolution. And on May 23rd and 24th, 2025, the stars don't just align for you, they summon you, not gently, not politely, but with a cosmic force that says, enough waiting, enough apologizing for your depth, enough hiding your intensity behind calm eyes, enough shrinking to fit into spaces you were sent to transform. This is the portal where pressure becomes prophecy. And Scorpio, you feel it already. That tightening in your chest isn't anxiety, it's power unexpressed. That ache in your soul isn't confusion, it's a truth too long caged. That restlessness in your bones? It's your higher self pacing behind the curtain, ready to take the stage. The energy begins with a powerful trine between the moon in Scorpio and Saturn in Pisces. This is not sweet affirmation, this is sacred confrontation. The moon brings your emotion to the surface. Saturn asks what structures you've built from pain, and whether you're willing to burn them down to build truth. You're being handed the blueprint of your next transformation, but here's the catch. You can't take the old bricks with you. You can't carry both the weight and the wings. Scorpio, it's time to choose. Do you rebuild from trauma or from truth? Because May 23rd is not here to comfort you, it's here to carve you open. So, your next evolution has room to breathe. You may feel called to retreat, to isolate, to examine everything. Do it. Go deep, but don't disappear. This isn't a burial, it's a resurrection. And for you, the phoenix isn't just a symbol, it's the mirror. So light the match. Name the part of you that's outgrown secrecy. Name the story you're tired of surviving. Name the pattern you're finally ready to rewrite, and then begin. Begin the week not with a whisper, but with a ritual. Before dawn on May 23rd, in silence, light a black candle. Take out your journal. Write the phrase, I release my need to earn my worth. Repeat it 3 times. Then, under it, free write for 11 minutes. Let it pour. Let it rage. Let it cry. Your words are your wand. This is not a diary entry. This is a soul contract with your becoming. When you're done, tear the page, burn it, bury it, dissolve it in water. Just don't keep it. Release is real only when it is ritualized. Scorpio, your power isn't in performance, it's in process. And this process is sacred. By midday, your emotions may surge like tides pulled by an unseen force. Let them. Don't numb, don't explain. Feel. Because what rises now isn't weakness. It's memory, it's wisdom. It's every version of you who kept silent, rising together to be heard. Whisper this. I honor the intensity within me. I transmute pain into prophecy. I am not broken, I am built. Repeat it as many times as you need, until the tremble in your voice becomes thunder, until the shame in your bones turns into steel, until the mirror stops showing you who you were and starts reflecting who you are becoming. Scorpio, this is your invitation. To burn, not for drama, but for clarity. To rise, not for applause, but for alignment. To lead not with noise, but with knowing. Let this be the beginning. Because May 23rd is not just a day, it's your reckoning, Scorpio. Mid-morning on May 23rd, something shifts. It might be a conversation that cuts deeper than intended, a glance that stings more than it should, an old emotion bubbling up at the exact moment you thought you had healed it. Don't ignore it, don't rationalize it, decode it. Because this moment, this subtle sting, is your invitation to examine a pattern still playing in your shadow. You know the one. The loop where you give too much and receive too little. The story where you mistake intensity for intimacy. The habit of armoring up the moment someone gets close enough to matter. It's time to face it. Not as a flaw, but as a map. Because your triggers are not the enemy. They're the GPS to your unclaimed power. So pause. Pull out your journal again. Write this prompt at the top of the page. What part of me still feels unsafe when seen? And then write, not to fix, but to witness. Because when you witness your wounds without judgment, you stop feeding them. You free them. You transform. And Scorpio, transformation is your art form. By early afternoon, your clarity deepens. Pluto, your ancient ruler, sends a subtle pulse through your solar plexus, awakening your internal authority. You'll know it's here when you feel the urge to make a move that scares you just enough to mean something. That conversation you've avoided? Have it. That decision you've postponed? Make it. That dream you've been too proud to admit still matters. Claim it. You're being asked to lead from within now, not with logic, with gut, not with permission, with presence. So step into that moment, not as someone performing strength, but as someone who knows what it costs to build it. Stand tall, straighten your spine, speak your truth, even if your voice shakes, even if your heart races, even if no one claps, because this isn't a stage, it's a sacred threshold. And you, Scorpio, are crossing it. Late afternoon calls for integration. You've stirred a lot, burned a lot. Now you ground. Prepare a space that reflects your inner sanctum. Dim the lights. Play cello music, ambient jazz, or complete silence. Place 3 objects in front of you that represent your personal power. Maybe it's a stone from your hometown, a candle that smells like memory, a photo of a moment you reclaimed yourself. Sit before them. Place your hands on your heart. Say softly, I remember who I am. I remember what I carry. I remember why I rose. Let the room hold your becoming. Let your body anchor your truth. Let your stillness become louder than any applause you thought you needed. Because Scorpio, your presence is the magic, and your silence is not emptiness. It's sacred listening. It's how you channel insight from the unseen. Evening approaches with reverence. This is not a climax. It's a soft coronation. The crowning of the version of you who doesn't just survive transformation, but orchestrates it. Light one more candle. Write this in your journal. I no longer resist my own power. I do not apologize for my clarity. I create from truth, not trauma. Sign it, date it, then place the candle beside your bed. Let the glow remind you you are not in the dark. You are the flame. And tomorrow, you burn through the next layer, not because you have to, but because you're ready. Scorpio, you wake on the morning of May 24th, not with noise, but with knowing. There's a stillness in the air, but beneath it, a hum. A vibration that begins low in your belly and rises with your breath. It's not anxiety, it's readiness. Because today is not about discovering power, it's about directing it. It's about becoming the orchestrator of your own rebirth, not just once, but every time life dares you to forget who you are. This is when the cosmos hands you the mirror and says, now show me what you've learned. So begin your morning with command, before screens, before distraction. Light a black or deep crimson candle, the kind that whispers of magic and memory. Pull out your journal. Title the page, Who I Am Without Apology. Then let the words flow. Not who you are to others, not who you are in the roles you play, but who you are beneath. Beneath expectation, beneath obligation, beneath performance. Write until it stings, until it liberates, until you feel the fire climb your spine and settle behind your eyes. Then, stand, literally. Stand in front of a mirror. Place one hand on your chest, the other on your gut, and speak this aloud. I am not performing strength, I am embodying it. I am not protecting my truth, I am becoming it. Feel the echo in your bones. Let it rewrite your posture. By late morning, the universe will test that embodiment, not with an explosion, but with a whisper. A message that arrives with edge. A situation that feels all too familiar. A comment that hits the old bruise just right. This is your moment of decision. You can shrink, or you can shift. You can respond from old programming, or you can rise from new wisdom. So take a breath, anchor into the version of you who no longer negotiates her magic for temporary comfort. Speak up, not to defend, but to declare. Act, not to please, but to align. You're not here to teach people how to treat you. You're here to remember how you treat yourself. That's the lesson. That's the spell. That's the frequency. Now mid-afternoon arrives, and it's time to anchor your own leadership. Because Scorpio, you don't follow timelines. You bend them. So choose one project, idea, or vision that you've been avoiding out of fear of being too intense, too much, or too soon. Grab your calendar. Schedule it. The post, the pitch, the conversation, the launch, whatever it is, give it a date, and then move one piece of it forward. Right now, no one else needs to see it, but your soul needs to know it's real. Because intentions unacted upon become prisons. But intentions embodied become portals. Now breathe, drink water, touch the earth, with bare feet if possible. Place your palms against bark. Let the stillness of nature mirror the steadiness you now carry. Not because life is easy, but because you are unshakable. Evening approaches, and with it, the soft unraveling of all that is false. Light 2 candles, one for who you've been, one for who you are becoming. Place them side by side. Watch how they burn, differently yet in harmony. This is the metaphor, this is the mirror. Then, sit in stillness. Whisper this: I forgive who I was when I didn't yet know how to protect my magic. I release the need to be understood by those not meant to carry my frequency. I call back every piece of myself I once gave away for love, validation, or safety. Let the words hang in the air. Let your body exhale. Let your soul stretch into its full dimensions again. Because Scorpio, the contraction is over. Now, you expand. Scorpio. As the golden haze of May 24th softens into twilight, the energy around you begins to concentrate. No longer diffused, no longer scattered. Now it's sharp, surgical, sacred. Because you are no longer drifting through transformation, you are directing it. The mirror rituals of the morning showed you your power. Now, the universe wants to know what you'll do with it. Not in thought, not in theory, but in choice. This is where the rubber meets the soul, where decisions become altars, where what you tolerate, or what you refuse, rewrites the entire trajectory of your next chapter. So, pause. Step away from the noise. Hold still long enough to notice what's no longer resonating, what's buzzing like static in your chest, what connection, habit, narrative, or performance is asking to be cut, lovingly, finally, cleanly. Because Scorpio, Pluto may be your ancient ruler, but Mars, your co-ruler, is watching now. And Mars doesn't ask, Mars acts. Mars burns the bridge to build the empire. So choose one cord to cut tonight. Not to punish, but to purge. You're not here to carry dead weight out of nostalgia. You're here to make space for what's next. And what's next is clarity, is direction, is momentum. But it can't enter a house cluttered with ghosts. So let's get intentional. Grab a piece of paper. Title it, What I Release to Rise? Then list everything, every story, every shame, every secret that no longer serves your sovereignty. Let it pour. Don't hold back. Be ruthless with your compassion. Because love without truth is not love, it's sedation. Now fold the paper. Take it to your balcony, backyard, or a candle's flame. Burn it, safely, consciously. Watch the smoke rise, not as loss, but as liberation. Say aloud, I am not available for cycles that cost me my center. I am not loyal to what drains me. I no longer confuse intensity with intimacy. Then inhale, and feel how light your ribcage suddenly becomes. This is your phoenix rite. And every Scorpio remembers, the ashes are not the end. They're the ink of your next invocation. Evening deepens, the stars emerge, and with them comes your next mission, embodiment. You've released, now you must root. So dress in something that feels like power, not for others, for you. Wrap your body in the fabrics of sovereignty, then stand in front of the mirror once more. This time, not to witness the shadow, but to command the light. Speak this: I am not rebuilding, I am returning. My power is not potential, it is presence. I walk with remembrance, not regret. Let your shoulders square, let your voice ground, let your eyes soften, not in weakness, but in wisdom. Because Scorpio, the softest part of you has always been the most dangerous. It's where the magic lives, the part that feels, that dreams, that knows without proof. And tonight, you let it lead. Before bed, one final anchoring. Open your journal. Title the page, My Soul Contract, May 24th, 2025. Then write, I vow to never betray myself again to belong where my power is not welcome. I vow to let endings make room for empire. I vow to embody power without apology. Sign it, date it, place it under your pillow, not as superstition, but as signal. To your higher self, to the cosmos, to every version of you that fought to survive just so this one could rise. Sleep now, not as escape, but as integration. Let dreams show you what words cannot. Let your nervous system recalibrate to its natural rhythm. Power without panic, knowing without noise, stillness without shame. And when you rise in the morning, You won't just wake up. You'll arrive as the version of you who didn't just survive the fire, but became it. Scorpio, you've crossed the threshold. But before you step into the next era, pause. Feel this moment. Let it settle into your bones. Because what's about to unfold isn't just transformation, it's transmutation. The final breath before the leap becomes legacy. The stars have moved, the rituals have been completed, the portals have whispered their secrets into your spine. And now it's your turn to answer. Because this was never about cosmic luck, it was about soul readiness. And you didn't just walk through fire, you remembered you were the flame. So what happens next? You move with reverence. You move with precision. You move like someone who finally trusts their own signal. This is where most people falter. Not because they aren't gifted, but because they haven't anchored what they activated. But you've anchored it. With your body, with your breath, with your will. Now you seal it. Tonight, no scrolling, no performing, no spiraling. Just one final vow. Stand in the dark. One hand over your chest, one hand over your gut. Say these words aloud. I am not returning to fragments. I am not apologizing for my fullness. I am not shrinking to keep comfort alive. I am not repeating what I've already survived. I am the mirror, the storm, the sanctuary. I am sovereign. Then breathe. Feel your voice wrap around your ribcage like armor. Not cold, not rigid, sacred. Scorpio. This is where your magnetism becomes unavoidable. Not because you shout, but because your silence holds weight. Not because you push, but because your presence pulls. Tomorrow, the world will look the same, but you will not. Because you've updated your frequency. And people will feel it before they understand it. Opportunities will arrive, but not because you chase, because you command. Because your yes will carry weight, because your no will echo. Scorpio, you are now a mirror. And mirrors don't lie. They reflect, they reveal, they refine. So what do you do next? You walk differently, not to impress, but to express. You speak differently, not to perform, but to align. You choose differently, not for applause, but for integration. You no longer live in delay. You no longer rent space in doubt. You no longer seek approval from systems built to ignore you. Instead, you build, not fast, not loud, but unshakably. You build spaces that honor your depth. You build art that channels your shadow. You build wealth that matches your worth. You build love that doesn't require dimming. And when the old world knocks, asking you to regress, to please, to prove, you smile and you say, that version of me no longer lives here. Then you close the door, not in anger, but in evolution. Because Scorpio, you are the storm. You are the stillness after. You are the soundproof room of your own knowing. So go now, live this, not as a trend, as a truth, not for the algorithm, for your altar. And when you forget, because you will, return here, to these 48 hours, to this vow, to this fire. Because this wasn't just a reading, it was a rebirth. Now open your journal one final time, title the page, My Millionaire Timeline, begins May 23rd, 2025. Then list 10 things you did, or said, that cracked the old identity, that sealed the new one, that shouted to the universe, I'm not waiting anymore. And when you're done, whisper one last invocation, not to summon more signs, but to signal your clarity. I remember who I am. I rise without apology. I lead from the dark, and I light the way. Blow out your final candle. Let the smoke curl like a cosmic signature. Because Scorpio, your name has already been written in the stars. Now, the world remembers it too.